I know a guy who'd love to have a bit of Ariel Helwani pizza. That's our next guest. The former UFC light heavyweight champion Sugar Rashad Evans joins us from Florida right now. Rashad, how are you?
I'm great, man. I'm great. Just enjoying that beautiful Florida weather.
Have you ever had a pizza named after you?
No, but pizza is my favorite food, so I think that one day somebody would decide to make a bomb pizza after me.
Well, I don't know if you heard us earlier, but someone named a pizza after me in New Jersey. Ariel Helwani pizza. It contains egg, cheese, and Canadian bacon on matzah pizza.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, that's what's up, man.
How do you like me now, Rashad?
See, hey, that's how you know you're arriving when people name stuff after you. Ariel Helwani pizza. That's what's up, man. I got to try. I'm a pizza connoisseur, so I'll tell you if it's good enough.
All right, fair enough. And by the way, right off the bat, let's clear something up. A lot of controversy, if you will, after UFC on Fox 4. The fans created this between you and I. A lot of people thought that I, quote unquote, threw you under the bus. Did you, in fact, feel like I threw you under the bus when I spoke to Phil Davis? Because I truly, and I studied this. I tried to put myself in your shoes. I tried to figure it out. I just thought I was making good TV. How did you feel?
Nah, you threw me under the bus a little bit.
Oh,
but
come
the
on.
thing about it was, but the thing was that I'm not even the one. Like when you said that gave him the harsh criticism, it wasn't really me. It was Chael that gave it to him. But
true.
Honestly, when it comes down to it, the job of being an analyst is to analyze, and sometimes, what you're saying is not always favorable what somebody wants to hear. If we did a show that, it was easy to hear and, the fighters wanted to hear it, then we wouldn't be, doing justice by the fans. We want to give the fans what they want to see and what the truth of the matter is. So sometimes you can't sugarcoat it.
And you're 100% right about everything you just said. By the way, if you would have told me this in confidence, like in the back off the record, and then I said it, it'd be throwing you under the bus. But you just said it on TV. I was just relaying the message to the guy.
Oh, honestly, it don't even matter. If it happens, do it again, because it really doesn't. It doesn't matter, because it's just, like you said, it's good TV. So
all right,
it doesn't matter at all.
Okay, a lot of fascinating things going on in your life, and I'm happy we got that out of the way, because I'm very sensitive when it comes to these things, and I like to clear it up because we're colleagues now, so we have to be on.
It's all good though. That's part of the job. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of you got to throw those curveballs, and I stand behind everything I say. So if something is said that is going to get back to the person anyways, and they take issue with it, then it don't matter. You know what I'm saying?
Fair enough. Now, before we get to Vitor and all that stuff, UFC 152, what's the latest on you? When are we going to see Rashad Evans back in action?
I'm a bit unsure. I'm unsure when I'm gonna get in there. I wanted to get in there in December, but we'll see what happens as far as what opponents come free. So I'm just going to train and get in shape and just hopefully I get a call to fight somebody.
So perhaps all this cancellation stuff may have moved you back to the beginning of next year.
Yeah, maybe.
Man.
Maybe.
Now, it's
just with the weight class the way it is at 205, there's only so many guys that you can fight. The shuffle, the UFC light heavyweight shuffle. There's only so many ways you can shuffle it up to make it exciting. So the two people I wanted to fight, they're apparently booked right now. So I got to wait and see what happens, and maybe something else will come free that I can fight somebody.
Who are the two guys that you wanted to fight that are booked?
Either Shogun or Machida.
Oh, who's Machida fighting?
Well, apparently he has a title shot with Jones, but if they don't give him the title shot with Jones, then I'll fight him.
It sounds like he's not getting the title shot. Dana White told me last week that he has to go and fight someone else now because he turned it down.
Okay, cool. Well, then that may set up a fight with Rashad and Machida.
Number 2, I like that. You want to avenge that loss.
Of course.
Yeah. Now, obviously, you're training with Vitor Belfort. He is preparing to fight Jon Jones at UFC 152 in a couple of weeks. Will you be in Vitor's corner in Toronto?
Yes, I'll be in Vitor's corner.
How did this come about that you started to train Vitor for this fight? How did he even join your team, the Black Zillions?
Well, me and Vitor talked a few camps ago before he fought Anthony Johnson. And he wanted to come down and train, or wanted me to go where he was at and train. And we talked about it and worked it out. We were going to do it, but then he had to fight Anthony, and then it was like a no-go. But he came down, and he was like, listen, I'm going to try it out for like a week or so and see if I like it. And he loved it. Right away, he loved it. He loved the team energy. He loved the way things were on the team, so he decided to stay. And it was just a good fit for the team as well, too. So we decided to keep him on board. And when he got the opportunity to fight Jones, he was like, look, I think you have the best insight on Jon. Having fought him, having trained with him, I think that you can definitely help me out a lot, and I would love it if you'll be in my corner, you'll help me out, and you'll help coach me. And I was like, cool.
And we're actually looking at footage of you training with Vitor, courtesy of our good friend Ryan Loco of Authentic Sports Management. You guys are training in Florida. I asked Jon Jones about you training with Vitor. He sent you a text, or a tweet, I should say. Then he took it down a couple hours later. I asked him about that. I want to get your take on it after hearing what he said about it, okay? So here's Jon Jones talking about you training Vitor Belfort. Listen in.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know what got into me. I think I was bored. I was after practice, and I was just bored. So, I tweeted him. I said something along the lines of whether him and Vitor were becoming brothers, like we were supposedly, or is Rashad going to move down to heavy middleweight. And basically, what I meant by that was like, dude, Rashad's he's a clever dude. He's a sneaky dude, man. All the training sessions we had, bro, I thought it was real, and push come to shove, he was paying attention and taking notes the whole time. So it's just like, dude, why are you training Vitor Belfort when he's fighting for exactly what you want? Are you going to move the middleweight and let him pursue a light heavyweight title, or are you going to train with him and then turn around and challenge him? I was just legitimately curious of what his psychology is behind giving up on wanting to be a UFC light heavyweight world champion.
So what do you make of that, Rashad? Have you given up on becoming a champion now that you're training with Vitor?
No, not at all. Not at all, man.
So what do you think about his take on the situation?
I mean, it's typical Jon Jones. One thing you can try to do, you can hear in that statement what he's trying to do is he's trying to put what he did on me. That's his psychology. That's what he does. He was taking notes. He was doing all those things. So then he was the one who was in an envious position. I wasn't envious of him. He was envious of me. So that's what he's trying to push with that whole thing. But as far as if Vitor becomes light heavyweight champion, that's great. That's great. That's what I would want. I mean, the way that things work out right now, I don't know how far I am away from getting a title shot. You know what I'm saying? You never know with the UFC. So I'm just going to keep fighting and competing and try to be a champion. And whatever breaks free, breaks free. If I get an opportunity at 185 and it's a serious opportunity, then I'll take it if I get a fight, And same thing at 205. I'm still pursuing the championship title in any way I can, any way, shape, form, or fashion. But me helping him train, it's not so much about me. It's not so much about me. I want to plan his plans. I want to help him become champion.
Well, obviously said a lot there. I want to ask you first, though, what do you think of how Jon has handled this situation? He received a lot of heat. Then some people kind of went back and said maybe it wasn't his fault. I do believe it wasn't solely his fault. And now he's like really running with this. I don't know, maybe he's just being himself, but he's saying a lot of things that a lot of people didn't expect him to say about the UFC and Dana White. How do you think about the way he's handled this situation?
I think he's a fool, to be honest. And that's just to say it, simply, he's a fool. When you have an organization like the UFC that made him what he is, and took him farther and took him pretty far in a short period that he was in, and for him to turn his back on the organization is a very silly thing to do. And even if he wanted to stand from the point of view of fighting for the fighters' rights and whatever the case may be, he had a better chance of doing that being on their side versus being against them. And that's my thing with him, is that he was very important to us fighters, you know what I'm saying, and stuff like that, as far as us getting some of the things, some of the rights and stuff like that. And but he screwed that up.
How did he screw it up?
Well, he screwed it up because now where he could have been an ally in helping us and to get fighters' rights and things like that, and what he's trying to, the agenda that he's trying to push, he could have did that by being on and with the UFC versus being on the outside.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So I mean, he's trying to say things like the UFC, done bad this and done bad that, but I mean, I don't know. The UFC made him pretty much what he is, and they gave him tremendous opportunity, and he made a big mistake by doing what he did.
He told me that the only guy that he would have accepted to fight on 8 days' notice was you, because your style is very much like Dan Henderson's. Was that ever offered to you to fight Jon to save UFC 151?
Never. But listen how stupid that is. Listen how retarded that is. Listen, how is his style more, my style? I mean, how is Chael Sonnen's style that much different than Dan Henderson's style?
Right.
If anything, Dan Henderson is the more dangerous fighter because he does have the power to knock you out. You know what I'm saying? Chael's not knocking nobody out with no punch.
Right.
Chael's not knocking nobody out with no punch. Chael's going to pretty much take you down and ground upon you. That's what he's going to do. So the simple fact that he wouldn't take a fight with Chael on 8 days' notice is ridiculous.
Would you have even taken that fight? Is that, like, now that you hear that, does that even get you, oh, wow, I wish I would have known that, or was that not even an option for you?
I mean, at the time, I was like 235.
Right.
So it would have been a pretty hard cut for me to make it to 205. But if the UFC was going to be like, listen, if you can make the weight and we'll work with you, then I would have did it to save the card. I mean, it's a lot of money that was lost in this whole situation, and it doesn't make it hurt the fighters as well too. The fighters on the card, I mean, the reason why Jon did it and his whole reasoning is just it makes no sense. It makes no sense at all.
Very few people, if any, think that Vitor has a chance against Jon. Do you think he has a chance?
Yes, I know he has a chance.
And you're not just saying that because you train with him. You legitimately think.
No, I truly believe it. I truly believe it.
How does Vitor beat him?
Well, I mean, Vitor has some of the best hands, the fastest hands, and he's very fast and he's very explosive. You know what I'm saying? So I think Vitor makes it a fight. He makes it a fight. He goes in there and he makes it a fight. I think that's.
Go ahead. Sorry.
What's that?
No.
Could you what?
I'm wondering, like, now that you actually fought him, you trained with him before you fought him, is it safe to say he is a different fighter than the guy that you trained with back at Jackson's? And how much does that now help the fact, like, okay, you've trained with him, you also fought the guy one-on-one in a real sanctioned match, like that knowledge that you're passing on to Vitor, how valuable is that? How, like, as opposed to if you had just trained with him and not fought him?
It's pretty valuable. I mean, there's things that he did different in the fight, but for the most part, it was like training. It was like training with him. But he did things differently. There's different things that he brought into the game. Mm-hmm. But he's a phenomenal fighter. He's got a lot of craftiness, a lot of poise. A lot of very patient. So there's definitely things that he got better at since he became champion and since I trained with him.
And you could sort of relate because at first, there was a period in your career where you were getting booed a lot. It seems like that's kind of gone away. It seems like now he's almost embracing this and he's running with it. Has he messed up? I mean, now with the Nike deal and all that, has he messed up by embracing the bad boy role, so to speak? Or do you think this is smart for him to just be who he is? And if it's a guy who is disliked, then so be it.
Yeah, but I agree. I think that for the most part, he needs to be who he truly is. But being who he truly is not the guy who's disliked.
Oh,
he can actually be a good person. But I think that I think him flipping back and forth between the person who he thinks that people want him to be and who he truly is has really messed him up. And he doesn't know really where to come from now. So now he's just he doesn't know who to be. So he's trying to balance out who he really should be, because when he first came in, he was trying to be a little bit of something too much to really what he wasn't.
So is there a chance, considering your history with him, will you try to help the guy out? Maybe when all this is done with Vitor, do you think that as an older brother figure to Rashad, because to Jon, that's what you were, well, as training partners, will you maybe give him some advice, or are you not interested in that?
Yeah, I mean, of course. I have, if he ever needed me for anything or something, anything like that, of course, I'll be there to talk to him and to be able to help him out if he needs to. I'm not, and I'm sure, I don't know everything there is to know about life either. So I'm sure if there's something that, that I have a problem in life, I'm sure that, I can learn from him as well too. But I think right now he needs to really sort out some things in his life, as far as with his management situation and just find some people on his team who's really going to give him a true idea, a true perspective of where he's really coming from. Because sometimes I think he's a little bit disillusioned, and I think that disillusion can cause a lot of harm to you.
Were you surprised that Greg Jackson said that would be a huge mistake for him to take the fight? You know Greg very well.
Yeah, I'm really surprised Greg said that. When you have an athlete like Jon Jones and you have a fighter like Jon Jones, I mean, when he's beat the most dominant guys in his weight class, why wouldn't you take a fight with a Chael Sonnen who just coming off one of the biggest losses in his career in the second round? Why wouldn't you jump on the opportunity? That is the kind of fight that, as a fighter, that's what you like. You like, yes, I got an easy fight. I mean, no. I mean, and I say this without any disrespect to Chael. Chael's my boy, but it would have took Chael a full camp to really get ready to fight Jon Jones. But the fact that he even took it, that shows the kind of spirit that he has. But at the same time, he wouldn't have been ready to fight a Jon Jones like that. He would have just been fighting all of pure guts.
And speaking of head coaches, we've heard from two guys. Last week, Matt Mitrione was sort of backing up what Melvin Gillard said about the departure of Mike Van Arsdale at the Black Zillion team, your team. What's your take on what's going on there? It seems like some people weren't all that happy with Mike, and they seem to be happier now. But what's your take on that situation?
No, I don't really get caught up in all of that. Like, Van is my guy, and Van is to me, one of the best coaches I have the opportunity to ever train under. So I don't really get caught up into what other people who really never had a chance to really experience Van or have Van's coaching, what they got to say. I can think and say, okay, this may be why he said it, this may be why he said it, but it doesn't change the fact that that's the way they feel, and the way they feel like that is because they really never had the attention, or they never really got to know him on a level that I got to know him on. So, people are going to have different opinions about it. But for me, Coach Van was one of the best coaches I ever had, and he was probably one of the best coaches in the gym.
So, are you a head coach now?
No, I'm not a head coach. I'm just a fighter, man, and I help out whenever I can, and that's what I do. I love to coach, something that it's part of me that I feel like it's going to be a natural transition for me after I get done from fighting. But no, I'm still competing. I still want to be champion. So I help out the guys when you need to, and they help me out as well. So I just try to exchange knowledge that I have.
And what are the chances your next fight is at 185? Do you think that's a possibility at this point, or do you think it's going to be at 205 next?
I can't say that it's not, to be honest. I just got to see where I fit in and what's the plan. What's the plan? I want to see what opportunity at 185, who I have to fight and where would it lead me to, because it really makes no sense for me to drop down to 185 to be in the exact same position that I am in at 205 when I don't got to cut weight.
Right. Although some might say, considering the fact that as long as Jon is champion, you have a better chance of fighting for the title at 185 because you already fought and lost against Jon, right?
Yeah.
So it's like a fresh coat of paint on your career to go down.
Well, I mean, to say that, but Machida lost his fight with Jon, and then he won one fight. Next, he got a title shot again. So You know what I'm saying? You
That's
never
true.
know. So
That's true. That's a good point.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you'll be in Toronto. Who else will be in his corner against Jon Jones, Vitor's corner?
Mario Sperry will be there. Henry Hooft, stand-up coach, will be there.
Wow.
And yeah.
It's a fascinating. It's a fascinating other wrinkle, as far as that fight is concerned. Like, you don't go away. You're still there. As far as the Jon Jones storyline, I like it. It's fun.
Yeah, it is fun, man. I'm glad that Vitor made me a part of his journey to become champion, and that's one thing about it. Like, people want to always throw ego into it, like, oh, Rashad, we're gonna do this and this and this and this. I'm like, I'm not worried about that, man. My main focus is for Vitor. That's it. Everything else, it doesn't even matter right now. And I'll cross whatever bridges I need to cross when it's time to cross them. But it just makes no sense to worry about things I don't need to worry about right now.
Yeah, fair enough. All right. Well, Rashad, we really appreciate the time. So glad to have you on the show. And most importantly, glad we were able to clear that up, that whole Phil Davis thing at the top. Because I couldn't sleep.
Good,
I couldn't sleep, man.
It's TV, man. Don't even worry about it, man. Right. It is what it is.
All right. Good to hear from you, Rashad. Thank you, and good luck in the final days leading up to 152.
All right, cool. Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
All right, there he is. Sugar Rashad Evans. Catch him on Twitter, twitter.com/SUGA Rashad Evans. Sugar, the former UFC light heavyweight champion. I still do believe that I did nothing wrong there, but it's good to listen. If someone thinks that you did something wrong, you man up, you call them on the phone, and you say, listen, what did I do wrong? What's your beef? Let's try to squash this. That's what we did. That's what men do. That's what men do. Beta males. That's what we are. Well, that's what I am. Rashad, probably an alpha. Anyway, good to hear from Rashad Evans, and he is helping Mr. Vitor Belfort train for UFC 152, which goes down September 22nd at the Air Canada Centre in Toronto, Ontario, Canada.